this should last us a little bit longer than the other book that I was using. But yeah, 10,000 facts. And it has 10 broad categories, like broad categories, and then within each of those is like super specific categories within that. And so rather than just like starting from the beginning, because then like all of the facts today would just be about the first main category, which it's a random facts video, it's not like a facts about blank video. So I'm going to read one specific category of facts from each of the 10 categories in this video, and probably in like the other long videos that I do with this book. I don't know if that makes sense, but it doesn't really matter. It's gonna be a super random facts video. So yeah, take a shot every time I say facts. Don't actually do that. I don't condone that. So the 10 main categories are animals, planet Earth, history, food and drink, sports and games, health and the human body, space, arts and culture, the Bible, and people. So we should be hitting all of those today, and in like most of the videos I do with this. The Bible seems very oddly placed, but I'll take it. Okay, so we're gonna start with animals, and I'm going to be reading facts about elephants. So that is the specific category within animals that we are going to start with. Alright, let's get started. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. The Asian elephant is endangered, while the African elephant is vulnerable. A female elephant is pregnant for 22 months, almost 2 years. Depending on the weather, an Asian elephant can guzzle 30 to 50 gallons of water every day. The largest known specimen of the African savanna elephant is on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. It stood 13 feet tall and weighed 22,000 pounds when it was alive. Elephants never forget distant watering holes, other elephants and humans they've encountered even after many years. Having a fat day? Forget it. The average male Asian elephant weighs between 10,000 and 12,000 pounds. African savanna elephants are currently most common in Kenya, Tanzania, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa. Elephants supplement the sodium in their food by visiting nearby mineral lakes. The closest relatives to the elephant are the hyraxes, small chunky mammals that resemble fat gophers, dugongs and manatees, and aardvarks. Several physical characteristics distinguish Asian and African elephants. Asian elephants are generally smaller with shorter tusks. They also have 2 domed bulges on their foreheads, rounded backs, less wrinkly skin, and their trunks have a finger-like projection at the tip. African forest elephants live in Central and Western Africa, with the largest populations found in Gabon and the Republic of the Congo. African elephants speak their own special language. Communication takes place using rumbles, moans, and growls. These low-frequency sounds can travel a mile or more. An elephant's trunk comprises 150,000 different muscle fibers. Ever wonder why elephants have trunk elephant's trunk weighs about 400 pounds. Between 1979 and 1989, Africa's elephant population went from 1.3 million to 750,000 as a result of ivory poaching. That's sad. About 415,000 African elephants remained as of 2016, the last time we have good numbers. Elephants greatly enjoy baths, but in the meantime, the red-billed oxpecker, a relative to the starling, picks ticks and other parasites off the elephant's skin. Those big floppy ears aren't just for decoration, they help the huge animals cool off. A group of elephants is called a herd. When two herds join forces, which happens during migration, it's called a clan. Elephants were first seen in Europe in 280 BC, when an army of 25,000 men and 20 elephants crossed from North Africa to Italy. Adult elephants can't jump. I think I had a fact in another video that elephants are the only mammal that can't jump. I think. Elephants use mud as sunscreen. Under the right conditions, an elephant can smell water from approximately 3 miles away. Elephants sometimes hug by wrapping their trunks together as a way of greeting one another. Okay, that was all of the elephant facts. This book is kind of interesting because it has a lot of facts that are like, the next fact technically is like a continuation of the one before it. So that's why sometimes maybe it sounds like I have weird pauses, is because like it is like moving on to the next fact. It's just that it has to do with the one before it. I don't know. I think it's a way of saying that your book has 10,000 facts when it actually doesn't. But that's okay. Okay. So the next category is Planet Earth, and I think the first, like, specific category is pretty much just Planet Earth, amazing facts about Earth. Earth weighs approximately, oh my gosh, that's a lot of metric tons. I don't know what that number is. 594, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 zeros. I don't know what that is. Like, heptillion. I don't know. It's a lot of metric tons. The surface of Earth is approximately 70.9% water and 29.1% land. Earth is the only planet not named after a god. The deepest place on Earth is Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, with a depth of 35,840 feet below sea level. Earth is not a perfect sphere, it's more of a squished ball. Thanks to Earth's quirky shape, Mount Chimborazo, which rises only 20,702 feet from sea level, is about 1.5 miles closer to the moon than Everest's peak. If you stood at the equator, you would weigh slightly less than if you stood at the North or the South Pole. The distance around the equator is 24,901 miles. I'm sorry that these are all in, like, the measurements are all, like, causes mountains to rise, earthquakes to rumble, and volcanoes to spew out hot rock. Made of solid iron and nickel, Earth's inner core is as hot as the surface of the sun, about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't melt, though, because it's compressed by the weight of the planet all around it. Surrounding the inner core is the outer core. This, too, is mostly iron and nickel, very hot. The outer core's rock is liquid because it's not under as much pressure as the inner core. Around the outer core is the mantle. It is the thickest part of Earth, about 1,800 miles deep. The mantle is solid rock, but so hot that it flows like a thick, gummy liquid. Earth's thin outermost layer is the crust, which covers the mantle. Verkhovkina Cave in the country of Georgia is the world's deepest cave, plunging 7,257 feet. Earth is the only planet in our solar system to have water in its three states of matter: liquid, solid, and gas. The Caspian Sea, situated where southeastern Europe meets Asia, is the world's largest lake. It has a surface area of 143,243 square miles. Stretching for more than 270 miles, the Grand Canyon in Arizona is the world's largest canyon. The Himalayas are the tallest and youngest mountains on Earth. Today's continents were split apart from a supercontinent named Pangaea. Bouvet Island in the South Atlantic is Earth's most remote island. It lies almost 1,000 miles from the nearest land, Queen Maud Land, Antarctica. Earth is thought to be about 4.54 billion years old. Compared to geologic time, humans have lived on Earth for the blink of an eye. Yeah, I always think that's crazy. The asteroid that formed the Chicxulub crater in the Yucatan Peninsula is 105 miles in diameter and is widely credited with killing off the dinosaurs. And I probably mispronounced it. Earth is moving through the solar system at around 67,000 miles per hour. If the sun suddenly stopped emitting light and warmth, Earth would get dark in about 8 minutes, the length of time it takes for light to reach us once it escapes the sun, and it would gradually become colder. The world's hottest temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit was recorded on July 10th, 1913 in Death Valley, California. Despite the popular saying, it's never hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk, the pavement would need to hit at least 158 degrees Fahrenheit for the egg to cook, and even blacktop only ever reaches 145. Hot water should boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius, but the actual boiling point varies depending on atmospheric pressure, which changes according to elevation. The Red Sea is the world's hottest. It's 87 degrees Fahrenheit at its warmest spot. Phoenix, Arizona recorded 128 days with a temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher in 2018. The city had 143 days with triple-digit temperatures in 1989. Yeah, I will never be living in Phoenix. I can tell you that much. Okay. Now we're moving on to history facts. And the first category is about ancient civilizations. 43 facts about ancient civilizations. Mesopotamia, located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in modern-day Iraq, has been home to many great civilizations: Sumer, Babylonia, and Assyria. Mesopotamia means between two rivers in Greek. Most Western scholars agree that the Sumerian civilization in Mesopotamia was the world's first civilization. Ancient Sumer is believed to have begun around 4000 BC. Archaeological evidence suggests that pre-civilized cultures lived in the Tigris and Euphrates river valleys long before the emergence of Sumer. The great city of Ur associated with Sumer is possibly the world's first city. The Harappan civilization developed in the Indus River Valley in modern-day Pakistan and India beginning around 3500 BC. However, it is clear that agricultural communities had inhabited the Indus Valley since at least 9000 BC. The Harappan civilization boasted a network of earthenware pipes that carried water from people's homes into municipal drains and cesspools. Nearly every home in the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro had a toilet connected to a sophisticated sewage system. It's pretty interesting, actually. Located in Africa's Nile Valley, ancient Egypt is generally cited as beginning in 3200 BC, though agricultural societies had settled in the Nile River Valley since the 10th millennium BC. Ancient Egyptian doctors had specialties. Dentists were known as doctors of the tooth, while the term for proctologists literally translates to shepherd of the anus. Nice. Fun fact, in German, a dentist is literally a tooth doctor. A Zahnarzt. It's a tooth doctor. So, yeah. The Elamite Kingdom in modern-day Iran began around 2700 BC, though recent evidence suggests that a city existed in this area at a far earlier date, perhaps early enough to rival Sumer. Meanwhile, the ancient Chinese civilizations located in the Yangtze and Yellow River valleys are said to have begun around 2200 BC. The earliest paved roads go back all the way to 4000 BC in the Mesopotamian cities of Ur and Babylon. In the southern region of Sumer, brick makers would set their bricks in place with a substance called bitumen, aka asphalt. The Akkadians formed the first united empire where the city-states of Sumer were united under one ruler. The earliest writing, cuneiform, was inscribed on clay tablets and dates to around 3200 BC. Over a period of 3,000 years, it was used to record about 15 different The saying, an eye for an eye, comes from the Code of Hammurabi, a system of 282 laws created by Babylonian king Hammurabi in 1750 BC. Babylon was said to have been surrounded by walls 100 feet wide, 300 feet high, and 56 miles in length. The walls were built with some 15 million bricks. According to legend, King Nebuchadnezzar II built the Hanging Gardens of Babylon around 600 BC as a present for his wife. Wow, what a present. There is some speculation over whether or not the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, ever existed. The oldest known furnace for copper smelting was discovered at Timnah in southern Israel and dated to approximately 4200 BC. It was simply a small hole in the ground that could be covered with a flat rock. The Sumerians are often credited with inventing the wheel. Ancient Sumerian kings and queens played board games. The Shavin, the earliest ancestors of the Inca, arrived in modern-day Peru around 1200 BC. More than 10,000 individualized pieces of graffiti have been found in the Ecological surveys show that cheese was being made from the milk of cows and goats in Mesopotamia before 6000 BC. Travelers from Asia are thought to have brought the art of cheesemaking to Europe, where the process was adapted and improved in European monasteries. American cheese is a cheddar that undergoes additional processing. Processed American cheese was developed in 1915 by J.L. Kraft as an alternative to traditional cheeses that had a shorter shelf life. A 1-ounce serving of cheese is about the size of 4 dice. The Pilgrims brought cheese on board the Mayflower in 1620. Philadelphia cream cheese is named after a village in upstate New York, not the Pennsylvania city. Cheese contains trace amounts of naturally occurring morphine, which comes from the cow's liver. The holes in Swiss cheese were once seen as a sign of imperfection and something cheesemakers tried to avoid. Cheddar has been around since at least the 1100s. A purchase of more than 10,000 pounds of cheddar is listed in the financial records of King Henry II, dated 1170. Cheddar is the most popular kind of cheese in the world. Legend has it that cheddar was first created when a woman left a pail of milk in England's Cheddar Gorge caves. By the time she returned, the milk had turned to cheese. And people ate that. What? Queen Victoria received a 1,000-pound wheel of cheddar as a wedding present in 1840. The crunchy bits you sometimes get inside of aged cheese are amino acid crystals. Wisconsin produces about 2.6 billion pounds of cheese each year. A cheddar wheel displayed at the Toronto Industrial Exposition in the 1800s inspired the poem Ode on the Mammoth Cheese, weighing 7,000 pounds by James McIntyre. British explorer Robert Falcon Scott brought 3,500 pounds of cheddar cheese with him on his ill-fated expedition to the South Pole in 1901. How? Founded in 1882, the Crowley Cheese Factory in Heldville, Vermont, is the nation's oldest cheesemaker still in operation. In 1964, the Wisconsin Cheese Foundation created a 34,665-pound cheddar wheel for the 1964 World's Fair in New York City. President Andrew Johnson once served a 1,400-pound block of cheddar at a White House party. Wisconsin-based Simon's Specialty Cheese made a 40,060-pound cheddar wheel named the Belle of Wisconsin in 1988. This category should just be called very large amounts of cheese. June is is sports and games. And the first category within this is early sports and games facts. The ancient Egyptians loved playing a checkerboard game called senates. Players moved pieces around a board determined by tossing numbered throwing sticks. Chinese acrobatics were performed at least as far back as the Han Dynasty, around 200 BC. Central American Mayans developed their own team sports similar to lacrosse, football, and soccer. Ancient Egypt had its own version of the Olympics, featuring gymnastics, javelin, running, swimming, and other events. Native American tribes had many versions of and names for the modern sport of lacrosse. The Cherokee called it Little Brother of War because it was good training for combat. The Roman name of quoits, where a ring is tossed at a stake in the ground, is the forerunner of modern horseshoes. An ancient festival devoted to cheese rolling is still held each May in Gloucestershire, England. Is that how you say it? I feel like someone's gonna make fun of me for that, but that fact could have been in the last category. The festival dates back hundreds of years and involves pushing and shoving a large wheel of ripe cheese downhill in a race to the bottom. Skipping and jumping are natural movements of the body, and the inclusion of a rope in these activities dates back at least as far as 1600 AD, when Egyptian children jumped over vines. Early Dutch settlers brought the game of jump rope to North America. It flourished and evolved from a simple motion into the often elaborate form prevalent today, double Dutch. That's where double Dutch comes from. Or like, that's cool. With two people turning two ropes simultaneously, a third and then fourth person jumps in, often reciting rhymes. Ice skates were used as far back as the Bronze Age, although early skates were likely used for winter travel, not for fun. Something like today's hula hoop existed some 3,000 years ago, when children in ancient Egypt made hoops out of grapevines and twirled them around their waists. The first historical mention of the yo-yo dates to Greece in 500 BC, but it was a man named Pedro Flores who brought the yo-yo to the United States from the Philippines in 1928. exact cell count in the human body is unknown, and figuring it out is tricky. One popular estimate is 30 trillion cells, another says 37 trillion. About 300 million cells die every minute. Red blood cells are the most common type of cell. More than 80% of the cells in the human body are erythrocytes, or red blood cells. Cells of the same tissue type group together to form tissue, or cells of the same type group together to form tissue. 15 million blood cells are produced and destroyed in the human body every second. Mitochondria use oxygen to produce energy for the cell. The longest cells in the human body are the motor neurons. They can be up to 4.5 feet long and run from the lower spinal cord to the big toe. The longest living cells in the body are brain cells, which can live in a human's entire lifetime. The cells that control smell and taste are the only sensory cells that are replaced during a person's lifespan. That's cool. There are probably about as many bacteria and microbe cells in our body as there are other human cells. For a long time, people thought bacteria might outnumber human cells by 10 to 1, but later revisions brought the estimate down. Fat cells are called adipocytes or lipocytes. Epithelial cells line your skin, the outside of your organs, and the insides of some organs. They protect your body and organs. Stem cells generate other types of cells. I just made a genetics video about stem cells. Go watch it if it's out already. I don't know. I think I'm gonna read another category because these are interesting. So this one is about heart and circulatory system. The circulatory system moves blood throughout the body. Its main components are the heart, blood vessels, and blood. Laid end to end, there are about 60,000 miles of blood vessels in the human body. The hard-working heart pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood through those vessels every day. The human heart creates enough pressure while pumping to squirt blood 30 feet. Blood consists of red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, and platelets. Newborn babies only have about 1 cup of blood. Whoa. The average adult has about 5 liters of blood. The right side of your heart pumps blood into your lungs. The left side of your heart pumps blood back through your body. Arteries carry oxygenated blood from the heart into smaller sections called arterioles, and then into even smaller sections called capillaries. Nutrients carried in the blood diffuse into body tissues from the capillaries. The word capillary comes from the Latin capillus, or hair. Veins carry the deoxygenated blood from body tissues back to the heart. The human heart beats over 100,000 times per day. The average woman's heart is 8 beats per minute faster than a man's heart. The first open heart surgery was performed in 1893 by Daniel Hale Williams, one of the few black cardiologists in the U.S. at probably just because the heart is a muscle and like men have larger muscles generally. Approximately 20% of the oxygenated blood flowing from the heart is pumped to the brain. And other than the cornea, every cell in the body gets blood from the heart. The cornea? Really? That's actually like the coolest fact that was on there, other than the cornea. That is pretty cool. Okay. The next facts are about space, and pretty simply, we are starting out with solar system facts, so yeah. Humans have known about Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn since prehistoric times because these planets are visible to the naked eye. The word and original definition of planet are derived from the Greek asteres planetae, which means wandering stars. Planets are known as wanderers because they appear to move against the relatively fixed background of the stars, which are much more distant. Stars and planets can be differentiated by two characteristics: what they're made of and whether they produce their own light. Unlike stars, planets are built around solid cores. They're cooler in temperature, and some are even home to water and ice. The Voyager 1 probe left Earth in 1977. It probably reached interstellar space in 2013. By NASA estimates, the heliosphere ends about 100 AU away from the Sun, where AU, astronomical unit, is the distance from Earth to the Sun. It's around 11 billion miles. Scientists believe our solar system formed 4.6 billion years ago. Neptune is about 30 astronomical units away from the Sun. The Kuiper Belt, how you say it? Kuiper. A ring containing icy objects extends about 50 astronomical units away. It has been seen by the New Horizons probe. Most of the mass of our solar system, more than 99% of it, is in the Sun. In fact, the mass of our solar system is 1.0014 solar masses, where one solar mass is the mass of the Sun. The nearest known star is Proxima Centauri, 4.25 light-years away. There are objects in the solar system called centaurs. Similar to asteroids and comets, centaurs have unstable orbits. The Oort cloud at the very edge of the solar system is named after Dutch astronomer Jan Oort. Long-range period comets with orbits of longer than 200 years come from the Oort cloud, whereas short-period comets come from the closer Kuiper Belt. The term solar system appeared around 1700 in English. Directives from the universe, try molasses, and slam oysters are both anagrams of solar system. Try molasses and slam oysters are anagrams of solar system. That's funny. An asteroid belt lies between the rocky planets and the gaseous ones, located between Mars and Jupiter. The four largest asteroids in this main asteroid belt are Ceres, a dwarf planet, Vesta, Pallas, and Hygiea. scientists estimate that there are at least 1.1 million asteroids that measure a mile in diameter in the main asteroid belt, and even more asteroids that are smaller than that. The plane of Earth's orbit and most of the other planets is called the ecliptic. Comets, however, orbit the sun at different angles. All the planets in the solar system orbit the sun in the same direction. I need to put this over here because I feel like I'm looking off to that side way too much and I'm getting really tired. Oh, I think this is usually what I do. No wonder I felt so weird. I don't know. Most other solar objects do as well, but some comets do not. Halley's Comet is one example of a comet with a retrograde orbit. Halley's Comet, a short period comet, is visible from Earth every 75 years. It's the only comet that we can see without a telescope that appears twice in a human lifespan. Halley's Comet will next appear in 2061. During the formation of the solar system, there may have been hundreds of protoplanets. Some joined together to become larger masses, some were destroyed. The objects we're familiar with, planets, asteroids, and so forth, are all found in the interplanetary medium. In most other solar systems, the star is orbited by medium-sized planets that are larger than our rocky planets and smaller than our gas giants. According to scientists, gold exists on Mars, Mercury, and Venus. Very cool. Alright, next. Okay, the next category is arts and culture, and this is 49 facts about artists. Michelangelo considered himself a sculptor when the Pope commissioned him to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The huge painting contained 9 scenes from the Bible. No 2 of the 300 people painted on the Sistine Chapel ceiling look alike. Leonardo da Vinci was an artist, scientist, and inventor during the Italian Renaissance. Vincent van Gogh was not commercially successful during his lifetime. Yeah, he didn't sell anything. However, the Dutch post-impressionist painter posthumously became one of the most famous and influential artists in history. The Impressionism movement was named after Impression Sunrise, a painting by Claude Monet. Critics derided the painting's unfinished appearance. Mary Cassatt was the only official American member of the Impressionists. The 13-foot-tall David statue is Michelangelo's most famous work and considered nearly perfect by many art experts. Unlike some artists, Leonardo da Vinci was famous for his paintings while he was still alive. Vincent van Gogh's suicide at age 37 came after years of mental illness, depression, and poverty. His brother Theo died 6 months afterward and was buried next to him. Grant Wood used his sister Nan and his 62-year-old dentist as models for his iconic American Gothic painting. Monet's parents parents called him Oscar to distinguish him from his father, who was also named Claude. Maybe they shouldn't have named him Claude. Known for his water lily paintings, Monet supposedly hired 6 full-time employees to tend to his gardens. Pablo Picasso is considered one of the inventors of Cubism, a style that reduces subjects to geometric forms. Georgia O'Keeffe is known for her close-up artworks of flowers. But flowers only make up approximately 200 of O'Keeffe's more than 2,000 paintings. Salvador Dali believed that he was a reincarnation of his older brother, who had died 9 months before he was born. All of the watches in Dali's The Persistence of Memory tell different times. In 1984, Mexico declared the works of Frida Kahlo part of the country's national cultural heritage. Her paintings often featured aspects of Aztec mythology and Mexican folklore. Picasso loved pets and owned a mouse, a turtle, a monkey, and many cats and dogs. Picasso's full name is Pablo Diego Jose Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno Maria de los Remedios Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso. Holy crap. O'Keeffe customized her car so that she should paint inside her Model A Ford instead of in the desert sun. Sorry about that noise. She rarely signed her paintings, but sometimes wrote on the back. Dali's famous long curled mustache was most likely inspired by the Spanish Golden Age painter Diego Velázquez. Van Gogh lopped off his own left earlobe following an argument with painter Paul Gauguin in 1888. He wrapped his severed lobe in a piece of cloth and presented it to a prostitute named Rachel. No word on what she did with the gift. Kahlo's The Frame was the first painting by a Mexican artist acquired by the Louvre. Some of the stories in Dali's autobiography, The Secret Life of Salvador Dali, are true, but some are just made up. O'Keeffe received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Gerald Ford in 1977. Monet's father wanted his son to join the family's grocery and shipping supply company. The black and white painting of Guernica depicts the destruction of Guernica, Spain during the Spanish Civil War. Andy Warhol is behind some of the most recognizable art of the 20th century's latter half. In fact, Warhol's pop art helped shape popular culture in general. Warhol regularly taped conversations with others or dictated his ideas into a tape recorder. There are approximately 3,400 of these audio tapes. At a Sotheby's auction in May 2017, Untitled, a 1982 painting by Basquiat depicting a black skull with red and yellow rivulets, sold for $110.5 million, for $69.3 million in March 2021 at Christie's. Alright. I think I'm done. I don't know if you can tell how tired I am. I don't know why. Yeah, I want to do more, but because I have a couple more categories, but I just can't. I'm sorry. This video has been really long, and I don't know, like I have a headache. I can't see straight anymore, so I'm sorry that I'm going to cut it a little short, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. It should still be like an hour long, even though I didn't get to all of the categories, so like I'm sure you'll have plenty of video to watch tonight. Sorry for any background noise. I feel like it was better the last half of the video, but the first half was kind of questionable, so I'm sorry if you heard like a lot of noises or beeping or stomach